All right, welcome back. A little quick video just to kind of show you what I'm doing here. I removed all the airline. That stuff is hard as a rock, and yeah, it's just too hard and stiff. So I pulled it all and went through, pulled all the air cylinders out because they were really stiff, and I went back and re-lubed them, a lot of them, because they were just, some of them felt like they just didn't have any in them at all, and they were gritty, like they probably had dirt. They probably have dirt in them. I can't get them apart. I was going to unscrew them and just clean them, but I couldn't. I can't get them apart, so I don't want to go put them in a vise and break something. So I took them all out, and I ended up breaking one of the short ones, so I'll have to make one from these extra long that I have. But these things were just coated in paint, and even when I popped all the balls out and cleaned them and everything, they suck. They're just like, it's like the ball material is so coarse, and the ball, even though it's nice smooth on the inside, it's still just, you can't even spin these things. So it just makes these canopy, or these bomb bay doors and missile doors just not function properly. I had this problem on the last one. They would hang up and everything. So I didn't want to, because these things I like to use for controls, and they're hard to find. There's these Dubro heavy duty ball ends. So I replaced all the air cylinders with those Dubro that I had, and then I took the four that was the loot, that were actually somewhat loose and rotate like they should, and used them on the four. These are just rods that go to the end of the door here. So when the door is open, it pulls this thing over and keeps it, folded like that. That's what you're getting. And then when it closes, it does that and lays down. So, yeah, it just kills me. Like, you take the time to paint something, and then you obviously don't change your angle, because they obviously slid at the front and sprayed it. Oh, it looks great. And then you walk around and it's like, oh, look, there's no paint on the back side of anything. And then you can see through this. It's just like crap. And then they paint over everything. Like, paint it first, then assemble it. How hard is that? But yeah, anyways, rant off. This little lock thing, I had to take it apart and put some real thick grease in it. It was leaking like a sieve, and that's just connected to a one-way valve. So when you go to put the gear up, it energizes first, it unlocks it, and then the big cylinder pulls it on. Because it's spring-loaded, that once it opens, it locks into place, so you don't need any air on it, except for when you go to put the gear up. Yeah, so there's that crack. I got to deal with that. It goes all the way across that bulkhead. I already talked about that, but yeah, not really doing much tonight. I'm just today was my in-office work day, so I get up like super early, like 5:15 and everything. Plus I exercised, so I'm just gonna wait and start tomorrow on doing that stuff, because I wasn't gonna do it, but I am. I'm gonna tape off tomorrow, and I'm gonna get some white spray paint and spray paint that area just to make it look a little better before I go installing everything back in. So I'll install these tomorrow, run all the airlines, this is the nose gear. I just took it apart and cleaned it up, because everything, I don't know what's going on with these guys. Like, the A7 was horrible. It's like, I guess they leave doors open. They're near deserty stuff. China's desert is big and nasty, blows everywhere in that region. And these things are just covered in dirt and sand and grime. And so all the stuff, like even the gear, because a lot of that's overspray, but there was a lot of sand and stuff in there. You just have to clean all the stuff to make it move smooth, because it just, it's just yucky. You gotta clean it up some. So that's what I was doing with this. Nothing wrong with it. Their nose gear actually works pretty good. It's actually the old, these were around, it says Air Beast, but I think they were like Air Tech at one time. So I just did that, put some of that dry lube on it. Probably don't need to, but do it anyways. So I'll get that back in, all these in, after I do that little bit of painting tomorrow. And then I will flip it over, and at that point, it's really just installing, running everything, and of course putting the nose on. But I think once I get it flipped over, I'll put the canopy open and close on, which is a linear actuator. Used this last time. I can't remember if I used the 30 or the 50, so I brought one out here. Pretty sure it's the 30, but that's what it is. Just a little linear actuator. I sell these. Been using them for years. I actually have a shipment of them that for some reason hasn't shown up yet. Like, dude, the shipping carriers are just horrible. Like they're all crap. I have problems with UPS, FedEx, USPS, and I think the only thing I don't have any issues with, knock on wood, is DHL, which is they end up handing off to USPS because there's no local DHL office here. So it actually, DHL packages, which are what all my Zykoy motors and stock items come shipped by, because that was I battled with UPS and FedEx for the first few years, and I just got tired of it because I couldn't get any. It was like it would take 2 to 3 weeks to get something through customs. It's ridiculous. So we tried DHL. It's super easy. Hadn't had any problems since switching. So, but yeah, I got some linear actuators in there for a guy that builds for people and repairs for people, and he needs them for like landing gear and bomb bay doors on a B-2 stealth bomber, that Carf one that you don't see many of. So he's got like 8 of them in there in that shipment. So I'm working it, but anyways. But yeah, that's gotta get that in, and then I also have one which I'm pretty sure that's definitely a 30 as well, that I use on the canopy lock, because their canopy has, I know it works, but it's very aggravating, is they do that. So there's a little air valve, and it's actually covered up. There should be a hole there. Well, that's useless. Looks like they glued over it. Well, there's supposed to be the piston of the air rod, or the piston of the air cylinder comes in and out, and that's what is your lock. It goes into this area on the nose, and is what actually holds the canopy shut. Yeah, see, there's that little hole. So all I did was I actually kind of went the opposite of that. I mount the linear actuator under here and run the piston, basically using that piece that they have glued in the nose. I take it apart and attach the end of that piston to my linear actuator, and it comes in and out, and I just glue in a piece of brass tubing on this side, so the needle goes, so it reverses. It goes from being over here to over here. So did it on the last one, worked great. So that's the plan for this one. And then of course I got to mount the canopy. No mod really required for the open and close, because they have an air cylinder they send with you that you use for the open and close. Where's it at? Oh, right here. And I just take all this stuff and, like I said, and just use, instead of using the air cylinder, it's just easier. I mean, with the linear actuator, you don't have to have a two-way valve. You don't have to have airline, which can possibly leak. You don't have a two-way valve that can possibly leak / fail. And you don't have to have extra air tank storage just for a canopy open and close and lock. Because you have to have actually 2 valves, unless you use something like a button valve, because you got one for open and close and one for lock. So now you got 2 valves, all the wiring and T-fittings and possible leak points and a sequencer possibly to make it work. And it's less weight, less hassle just running the linear actuators. They work great. So that's kind of what the plan of action is paint tomorrow, put the air cylinders back in, run all the air lines, get the gear finished, cleaned up. Like I I'm probably going to replace some of these decals because they got overspray on them. I've got extra decals, like I already said, but I'll do that whenever. But get it flipped over, do the air cylinder mods for the nose, and then at that point, it is just running everything. Probably do the saddle tanks at that point as well. So, and I'll put the tail end on it because everything, once you got to get the tail on it to start running everything. So that's kind of the order of things. So that'll go airlines, tanks will get added. I'll do the tanks after the linear actuators. And then at that point, I'll put the tail on, the nose on, and then we'll actually start running everything for the equipment. So the only other kind of crazy part of that is getting those side tanks in first and mounted. And then, like I said, I'll leave the center tank out until it is completely done. This one, I am going to make the center tank a lot more. That's why I sold the first one. The only reason why I sold the first one is because I wanted to change a couple things. I wanted to change the S-bus setup so I could get because on the last one I had both rudders on one channel because I was just out of channels. But now that I've got the MPD-1 thing, whatever it is that you hook up to your receiver to get more channels, I can do it like I wanted, and I'll actually it'll be a nicer setup. Plus I wanted to make the center tank easier to remove because you can't get to anything with that tank in the way. And so that's kind of one of the mods. I wanted to kind of change the power where I'm going to put some things like the hubs with the GCUs on them are going to be mounted in a different location this time. Your on and off is going to be in a different location because I had it up in the canopy, which sucked because I always had to leave the canopy up when it was powered off because I couldn't get to it with it down, So I would leave it up and I would transport it that way, and it would break the cross beam on this guy right here because it's like carbon fiber wood, but it was real thin, and this is where your linear actuator mounts, and it would always break this. So that's kind of the mod I'm going to do. Still keeping as much as I can in the nose, but I know from last time I could have shifted some things back and still not had to add nose weight. So that's the plan this time. So, but anyways, I'm gonna call it, go inside and chill, get a shower because kind of stink from working out. Back is just killing me, dude. I don't know, my wife is an x-ray tech, and she's like, I was looking at your x-rays today. I know why your middle back's hurting and all this and that, and started telling me, and I was like, well, yeah, that explains it, but how do we fix it? She's like, you don't. I was like, God damn it. So I'm having to deal with some pain right now. I was always kind of dealing with it because I got a horrible back, but ever since the accident, man, it's like I can't get no relief right now. I stand up, I go walking, because I try to stay active, and it's just killing me, and there ain't nothing I can do with it. It feels like my back's cramping in the middle of my back, like I got horrible heartburn / back cramps, and I just can't get no relief right now. So I just got to deal with it. So, but I'm gonna go chill out tonight and shut up talking. So you guys have a good one. Kind of a quickie, not really doing anything video, but just wanted to kind of update you guys. And I had somebody say something about the Zycoy stuff. Like I said, I haven't made any decisions on that yet. I keep getting messages from people saying, well, they've got them in stock at so and so, and I'm like, well, that's obviously who's getting my motors, because I've had motors on order since before Christmas and I've gotten one, so that's an issue. So I don't know. It's just hard. Yeah, I'm not trying to make a lot of money, but one, I'm not going to lose money, which I have been, and if I'm not making anything, it's just not worth my time because it is a lot of work. I've grown it to the point where starting to get steady motors back in for services and things like that, and I can't keep shipping stuff to Zycoy in Spain and paying out of pocket for that. Because I can't fix certain things and this and that. So I got to come up with something. Something's got to change. So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, you guys have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.